Greetings, everyone, and welcome back. I apologize for the somewhat abrupt change of plans. I realized right after I said I was going to play Nocturne that we're actually closer to finishing Wild Arms 3. And since it would be nice to at least finish one of those games so that I can focus on the other, I think we're going to work on making our way through Wild Arms 3 today, because I really didn't mean to troll you guys. I'm sorry, Fontez. I just didn't think it through. Nocturne was the first game that came into my mind, and I thought, yeah, okay, let's do Nocturne. And then right after I said that, I realized, oh, wait a minute. We're a lot closer to being done with this than we are to being done with Nocturne. And I would like to get this out of the way. Partly to just check the box, but also so that I can move on to something else afterward. And now that we have some idea of... Well, actually... I mean, I'll probably be playing the Legend of Mana remaster next, because that comes out, I want to say the 25th? So relatively soon. We're already, what, today's the 12th? Yeah, I think the 11th or the 12th. What is it? The 11th. So, about 2 weeks, and then the Legend of Mana remaster will come out, and I will want to be done with Wild Arms 3 by then, so... Yeah, Demon Samurai, it is, although hopefully Nocturne won't take too much longer with the additional quality of life and whatnot that has been added in the remaster. Yeah, Legend of Mana on the PS1, Fontez, but Square Enix announced a while ago that they were, well, not all that long ago, actually, come to think of it, I think the beginning of this year, they announced that they were doing an HD remaster of Legend of Mana, which I think is for PS4, and maybe other consoles as well, I'm not sure. I don't remember them announcing a Steam version, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. It just means I'll have forgotten that there was. Well, Fontez, I hope it's good. They up-resed all the backgrounds in the Legend of Mana remaster based on the screenshots and the trailer that they showed, but they apparently didn't bother redrawing the sprites. So all of the backgrounds are all nice and storybook HD, but the sprites are still the original PS1 sprites. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. You haven't seen any of it, Demon Samurai. Well, you'll have a chance now. Actually, I should have... Before we left the Secret Garden, I should have checked to see what still needs to be planted and harvested. Okay, I remember now. So we had just finally acquired a Mega Berry. Alright, got it. Okay, and I think we're at the point in the game now where... What did we just do? Dungeon... Okay, we've been to the Abyss. Oh, okay, we just finished the caging tower, that was it. Which means I think now we should have the ability... Since we've gotten one of the tools that we need for this... I think we can go to the Sand Canal and pick up some items that we were unable to acquire last time. Because I think there was a switch in here that we're supposed to jump on that we couldn't jump on when we first came here because we didn't have the... We didn't have the jump boots. Hang on a minute. Okay, no, I guess that's the only exit from here. No, you know what? We're at the wrong entrance. I think the stuff we're supposed to get is on the other side. And yeah, Demon Samurai, the quality of life with skill inheritance is nice in the Nocturne Remaster. I just wish that they had given us the ability to choose what skills... Oh god, Clemps. Hello and welcome, Clemps. Thank you so much for the raid. My goodness, what are you doing, dude? Hello, Sylphie. Hello, Clemps. Hello, Rats. Welcome, everybody. I'm pretty sure most of my folks know you by now, Clemps, so the shout-out is just a formality, but... For those of your folks who don't know me, my name is Franz, and occasionally I stream video games. Yes, okay, this is what we needed. There we go. Ah, nice, Clems. Congratulations. Better to take a break if you need one. Oh, a grab bag? Well... Where are my duplicators? There they are. The glove gremlins. 9 lives? I don't remember what that does. Mel, that's alright. The important thing is that you know Clemps. Oh, okay. Just SOS guard. Alright, well, calling that thing 9 lives is being a bit generous. Hello, Lizard King. Welcome. And welcome to everyone. Clemps, thank you again for the raid. I seriously appreciate it. But I imagine you're probably off to get some rest, and I can only encourage you to do so because you must be exhausted. I actually just finished the Integrate DLC for the FF7 remake. And since that didn't take up an entire stream, I am now working on making some progress in Wild Arms 3. Yeah, no problem, Clemps. Although, be warned, don't get your hopes up about E3. Because with more and more of the big game developers just abandoning E3, I would be very surprised if we're going to get too much in the way of interesting or worthwhile announcements. That doesn't mean I won't necessarily, forego... Or that doesn't mean I will necessarily forego co-streaming the panels, if there even are any this year. Good, Clemps, good. I just... The way things have been the past few years, it just seems imprudent to get our hopes up. Especially for E3. I guarantee you, all that's going to happen is they're going to show the same Elden Ring trailer again, and they'll reveal nothing new. And then the rest is all going to be mobile games or battle royales. Because apparently every developer and their grandma is trying to cash in on that trend now. Well, all I can do is wish you luck, Clemps. And I mean, all we can really do is wish us all luck. Because we're going to need it. I have a sneaking suspicion this year's E3 is going to be an underwhelming experience. Anyway, go get some rest, Clemps. Thank you again for the raid. Have a good one. Take care, Clemps. No, Xiao. Fortunately, Intergrade only has one instance where the existence of those god-awful plot ghosts is, implied. And it's a really stupid instance, but at least it's only one. Honestly, I enjoyed Intergrade. Yuffie is a fun character to use. She has a good mix of close and long-range attacks. And she has the ability to deal elemental damage without using magic points, which is nice. Sonnen was a disappointment. You can't actually directly control him. He basically serves as a kind of an accessory character to Yuffie, where he's really just an extension of her. But, it was, for as short as it was, Intergrade, I guess I'll say I don't terribly regret spending the $20 on it. It could have been a little cheaper, in my view, for how short it was. But I don't feel like it's egregiously overpriced the way that the SMT3 remaster is. I'm pretty sure... Wait a minute, what? I'm pretty sure that if we, no, maybe not. Oh, yeah, no, Xiao, I think we were all worried about that. We were all worried that Nomura was gonna just do the dumb plot stuff again. But fortunately he didn't. Somebody apparently stopped him. Maybe it wasn't this dungeon. I could have sworn... I'm trying to remember which of these dungeons... God, I don't remember. There was an optional boss that we were supposed to be able to fight, but I don't remember where to go to trigger it. Ah, well, I guess it's not that important. You don't get really anything good for it. I think you just get an X-file key. Alright, well, let's try... Whoops. Huh? Oh, what's this? Oh, okay! I think this might actually have been what I'm looking for. Because... I'm pretty sure it was in here. I thought this dungeon was around this part of the world map, but I can never remember. I mean, it's been so long since I played this. Sometimes I just can't remember stuff. Alright, hang on. Ah, right. And then I think if we go to the boss room, if I remember correctly, I hope it's this dungeon. I hope I didn't get turned around again. Okay, nope. Not that way. Oh, there's stuff over there. All right. Wait a minute. Okay, there it is. Heelberries, 300 Gela. Now, if I remember correctly... we fight a bunch of these little turds, which... initially... are not tough at all. However, I am the Grand Duke of Vengeance, Ariok. Even though I may succumb 99 times, I shall continue to rise in order to pierce thee with my blade. My spiteful revenge is unforeseeable, and I shall creep upon thee silently, wherever thou may be, under any circumstance, without warning. Let it be known that my revenge shall cease with your demise or with my 100th defeat. So this is a really weird and kind of an interesting optional boss fight where by releasing and fighting these guys... well, Fontes, the way this works is once you release them, you will randomly run into groups of them in dungeons 99 times total. So you have the first fight and then 99 more randomly in dungeons. And each time you defeat them, they get a little bit stronger the next time you fight them. So you'll randomly be wandering around in a dungeon, and instead of a random encounter, you'll run into a group of Ariok. And for each group of them that you kill, they get a little bit tougher the next time. And then finally, on the 100th time you fight them, they're, like, really, really tough. So it's kind of a weird way to handle the boss fight. It's not very common for these kinds of games to have a boss fight where it works anything remotely like this. I believe you get an X-File key, Fontes. X-File keys are items that unlock bonus content. There are 15 of them in total, but because of a programming oversight that the developers apparently didn't catch, you only actually need 8 in order to unlock all of the content that they unlock. And because they're kind of a pain to run into, it's your advantage to release them as soon as possible. I don't know that I'm going to go out of my way to actually hunt down all 100 groups of them. But I did want to show them because I think it's kind of an interesting mechanic. I think it's, No, they're totally optional, Fontes. Any of the boss fights that you initiate by summoning the boss from one of those holographic archives are always optional. Sometimes you get really good stuff by beating them, though. And in 1 or 2 particular cases, you can use them as opportunities to farm experience. Alright, now let's go and see if that stupid telepath tower is finally available. Doesn't look like it. Man, I'm stumped as to what you have to do to get this stupid thing to show up. It must just be more story progress. Hello, Coasting By! Thank you so much for dropping in to say hello! Have a great day, take care of yourself, and thank you again, it's good to see you. Yeah, okay, I guess we just can't. Alright, well, let's just move on with the story then. I believe we want to go to Boot Hill. And while we're here, we should rest. Two beaches, Mysterious Crater, the Inland Sea. Okay, that's stuff we already know. Today is June 11th, Engine Day. Who makes this stuff up? Once, a maid was ordered by her master to find an engine and went out in search of one. She came back with a man named Engine. The master, surprised to know that there was a man named Engine, declared that day to be known as Engine Day in honor of his loyal maid. But his maid's name wasn't Engine. Why would you honor her by naming a day after someone that's not her? Oh god, Sylphie, that's depressing. Yeah, give the guy credit for the maid's accomplishment. Okay, we've gotten that dialogue already. Oh, I can't carry any more tiny flour. I guess I have to go buy 00 flour instead. Oh, Numu! P5 Royal is unequivocally an upgrade from the original P5. Was it here? Not only is it an upgrade in just about every way, in fact, but it has a whole bunch of extra content. Like, there's a whole additional month and an extra palace. So, I would say P5 Royal is definitely a good, it's a good game to play even if you played the original, because quite a lot about the original they have improved upon. Yeah, I first played the original P5 when the game came out as well, and I did enjoy the original, but the Royal version fixes a couple of issues that the original had. It improves upon a couple of things the original could have done better. It adds a little bit of quality of life, which is nice, and it adds a very significant amount of extra content, which probably is your main reason for playing it. I could have sworn there was something around here. Maybe it was different enemies. Oh, no, just Oak Warriors. Yeah, Numu, it's funny you bring it up because we talked about it not too long ago in a different context where the first half of Persona 5 feels like it got the amount of time that it should have had, and then it feels like the second half the developers realized, oh, we don't have time to finish this game if we don't pick up the pace, and so they seem to have ended up having to leave out or cut a bunch of stuff that... Oh, jeez. Alright, fine. Oh, Demon Samurai, you haven't seen anything yet. I'll have to show you since you, you mentioned you haven't seen this game. For goodness sake. There we go. Might be over here. No, maybe not. Maybe it was over here. Huh? Oh, good. A lucky card. Cool. What do we have here? Dissection facility. Okay, this is what we're looking for. That's true, Xiao. But remember, that game was in development for, I think, 10 years? Oh, good. The arm is jammed? The hell? Alright, fine. Why the heck are our arms I don't remember anything about this. I hope not, Numu, because we'll all be in nursing homes by the time that game is even out, if it takes that long. But yeah, Xiao, as to that, I feel like or my personal suspicion anyway, is that... Oh god. Come on, Jet. Really? All that for a heal berry? My suspicion, Xiao, is that the development process left them with the sense that they had more time than they did. And remember, the story of Persona 5 was originally going to be something totally different. It was originally going to be a story about backpacking around the world. But after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, the dev team decided that they wanted to tell a story that was more specifically about Japan. And they ended up scrapping what they'd come up with so far and doing everything all over from scratch. Cesartlu, hello, welcome! And welcome back! Thank you so much for the resub, Cesartlu. So my best guess, Xiao, is that they were going with a plan that they didn't originally intend, and they were making it up as they went along, and it took them longer to make up a good ending than they were given in development time. And my guess is their plan for the first half or so of the game, they had time to solidify a little bit more, but then they may well have realized for the second half of the game they didn't have as much time to hash things out, and so that's why that half of the game feels so rushed. Oh, I meant to, Demon Samurai, if you're still here, you expressed interest in the battles on horseback. Let me show you another sort of battle that exists in this game. I'm pretty sure this is where the strongest enemies are. Persona 5, Cesartlu. Yeah, Demon Samurai, it's a totally different battle scheme here, where now we are fighting gigantic pigs that wander around swimming in a sea of sand using our sandcraft. Yeah, I guess it basically is Ganon, Fontes. We caught Ganon while he was in the hot tub. Get over here. And now, we're gonna blast him in the back with all of our ammo. Check this out, Demon Samurai. It's a little bit excessive, but you know me, I like excessive. Well, Xiao, there are definitely improvements that they can still make on not only the formula, but on the game mechanics as well. There we go. So this is where Sis was taken. Do not fret, Master Alfred. I promise to do all I can to rescue Milady. I must do this to honor your predecessor as well. as I am in debt to them. I ask for your patience. Thanks, Todd. I'm counting on you. I can count on you too, right, Shady? You need me, don't you? Then yeah, I'll help out. Count us in too. All right, let's go. Oh. Right away, huh? Ah, freaking name tags. Worthless item. Okay. I think this is a job for Clive. Oh, right. We need to be able to approach it from this side, so... Well, Demon Samurai, the other thing to consider is the fact that the people who originally played Persona 3 when they were kids, or, you know, even young adults, they're getting on in their years now, and Atlas would do well to think about the fact that maybe an older team of protagonists would be more appropriate and more relatable. Actually. Oh yeah, there was a door over here, wasn't there? Okay. Which means we have to... I think we use the Gale Crest here. Yes, okay. Good. Great. Well, yeah, Numu, it's interesting. I was... and this is just sort of a funny aside, but I was browsing PSN a while ago looking for new games to stream, and I came across a game that I don't plan to stream, but it's, what was it called? It had some, you know, really complicated, nonsensical Japanese title where they just mashed a bunch of English words together, but then it had the subtitle, School Idol Festival. And I couldn't help looking at that and thinking, wow, well, that's the three primary elements of a Japanese young person's life summarized and just mashed into the subtitle of a game right there. School, idols, and cultural festivals. Because for most kids in Japan, that's pretty much what their lives are restricted to, is school consumes everything, and the culture in which they grow up is saturated with that sort of stuff, you know? With teen idols and the various different Buddhist and Shinto festivals, and just local cultural festivals as well that are regional and that are unique to different parts of Japan, where those are huge parts of a young person's life in Japan, and so they tend to show up constantly in their media because, you know, that's what they're familiar with. Leave this to me. The predecessor, Milady's father, was a great man. He was a strong defender of justice who raised Milady and Master Alfred as a single parent. A very gallant man indeed. He took a good-for-nothing man like me under his wing, and I was honored to work under him. I was unable to repay my debt of gratitude to Lord Schrödinger while he was alive, so I vowed to take it upon Milady and Master Alfred. That's a fair point, Vic Junk, but remember, the people who are playing video games nowadays are still, in many cases, the people who grew up playing them. You know, people who played games as kids and who continued playing games as hobbies even into adulthood. It's true there are a lot of people in my generation who don't have the time to play video games because they're busy working 2 or 3 jobs, but... Oh, welcome back, Sam! But at the same time, Vic, there are still a lot of people in my age group, millennials and, well, really people, you know, 25 to 35 or so, and even a few years older, who are still very much into video games and who are still a very relevant part of the customer base of some of these companies, especially companies that are releasing installments in franchises that have existed for a long time. Jeez, Todd. That's one way to open a door. I shall get Milady back and repay my debt. Okay, we'll do our best as well. Well, and that's a good point too, Xiao. Younger people tend to rely on their parents to buy games for them, whereas older folks... Red, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. You've gone from Massachusetts to Arizona and then to California for your final delivery load? My God, Red. You must have spent literally 2 weeks driving that truck. But, congrats on that nice paycheck, though. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, this is Ariok. Yup. See, this is what I meant. Fortunately, for the time being... they're not a threat. And it'll be a fair while before they become a threat. Also, the amount of experience and money they give you tells you how many of them you've defeated. So that's helpful, at least. Oh. Yeah, Vic, I suppose market testing is necessary for that, but... Oh God, I can't catch a break here. Alright, look. You know what? I have just about had it. Get out of here. Yeah, Vic, I think to a younger player it doesn't so much matter, because there certainly is the argument that younger players might want someone they can relate to, but at the same time, there's also the argument that they might want somebody as a protagonist that they can aspire to be. Oh God, I didn't mean to... Now we have to fight a battle because I accidentally... Oh, for God's sake! Again? Man. Hello, nobleman. Welcome. Oh, yeah, Red, I imagine if you had to drive any of those desert highways, it was probably really hot. Alright, look. There we go. Oh, good, a treasure chest. Come on, Clive. Thanks, Clive. We got a water ring. Oh, blast it! Stop. Yeah, Red. Although, fortunately, it's a fairly straight road, I think, isn't it? So at the very least, the driving was probably pretty easy, hopefully. Well, they more or less have, Numu. It's called P5 Strikers. I mean, technically it's a Muso game, but it's... I mean, technically Muso games are action-oriented. Alright, let's try this correctly this time. Oh, and you know what? No, Reverend Savage, I did not. I can't say I've even heard of that game, actually. Oh, okay, a lucky card. That we at least can use. Well, Numu, the entire Persona series is a spin-off of the mainline SMT games. But as far as P5 Strikers specifically, no, it's a direct sequel to P5. It's just not the same kind of game. You know, it's a different genre. Okay, Red, that doesn't sound too bad. Oh, there's a lever here. This I think we need Shady for. That lever looks suspicious. Shady, if you would. This dates back many generations, but I was summoned by a Schrödinger and locked up in a puny little box. Day after day, I would help him out with various experiments, but in the end, they sealed me inside a box for what seemed like forever. That's when Madame rescued me. At first, I thought about getting even with the Schrödinger people, but she invited me to join in on her fun, and boy was it ever. I've never felt so excited and free in my life. I'm having so much fun, I gotta make up for lost time and have as much fun as I can. I love how Shady found it necessary to melt the lever. Florida to Canada, Soul Bishop. She does the north-south route, huh? Yeah, Vic Junk, I can certainly understand that. I guess the best thing you can do on that kind of route is to bring plenty of good music to listen to, or, you know, something to keep you awake. Then again, Vic Junk, I mean, desert isn't that much variety. Hello, Stephen Ellis. Well, Numu, it seems to me the story is the main reason why you would want to play P5 Strikers. The gameplay is typical Muso gameplay, and if you played one Muso game, you pretty much played them all. They're all pretty much the same in terms of how they work. They all tend to be kind of, you know, button mashy and not really have a whole lot of skill to them, but sometimes I guess that's the kind of game some people want to play. I can appreciate it. All right, anyway. I think we want to just Gale Crest across that. Yes, there we go. And a couple of Gelicards, very good. You're not wrong about that, Numu. Oh, wait a minute. If I remember correctly... Yes, there's a... And a holographic archive. Big grab bag, and... Well, that's what it really boils down to, Monotone. There are folks working at Atlas USA who know what's up and who keep abreast of what their community wants, but... Numu, the problem is... the Japanese management of Atlus, and I think also Sega, which does exert influence on Atlus, they are not necessarily so forward-thinking, and they also, honestly, are quite backward at times. Alright, what do we got? I totally forget what boss this even is. I do not remember this boss at all. Although it is the I think, third palette swap of this enemy we've seen. What do we got? Heimdall Gasso. This thing will be using magic. Oh, Soul Bishop, you must be talking about games like, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Oh, yeah, Morteferu, that, we talked about that already, but that's just more of Sega's backwardness, and it just proves, not like we needed more proof, that Sega is still very willing to do dumb stuff like that. Well, Numu, you'd think that they would have learned. But they didn't, because the SMT3 remaster has some issues that Persona 4's PC port did not have. Numu, the difference is SMT, Shin Megami Tensei, is the mainline series. Persona is an offshoot series that spawned from SMT. And SMT is itself a continuation of the Megami Tensei series, the original one, which is decades old by now. So basically, Numu, the Persona series is overall newer, although Atlus did keep making SMT mainline games in parallel to the Persona titles. Not usually, Numu, no. There are exceptions. There are SMT games where school is a thing, but the Persona series does something that the SMT games really don't focus on too much or at all, where the Persona series have the whole dating and relationship simulation, and they focus mostly on the characters' everyday lives, and then the dungeon crawling element is sort of a counterpart to that. Whereas in the mainline SMT games, school is usually only a peripheral plot device, and those games focus mostly on some other overarching storyline that doesn't really focus so much on interpersonal relationships between a large number of characters. It usually focuses on individual character development of a smaller group of primary protagonists. That's a good way to put it, Xiao, yes. In fact, that's actually a really accurate way to put it. Hello, Sugewin, welcome. Yeah, Sugewin, in Persona 3 and 4, recruiting Personas wasn't really a thing. The only way to get them was to fuse them. However, in Persona 5, they brought back the recruitment mechanic from the mainline SMT games. So P5 was kind of the exception to the rule there. But in the mainline SMT games, almost always, if not always, the idea of the gameplay is that the members of your party are mostly or entirely demons or other supernatural beings that you either recruit or that you gain by fusion. Mortiferu, I'm aware of the Golden Sun series. I've never really had any particular plans of playing it, but I'm not saying that I'll never get around to it someday. Numa, if you've only played Persona 5 and you have a PC and a PS4 Pro, which SMT should you play as an introduction? Honestly, that question might be a little bit beyond my pay grade, Numu. Although I have a number of people in my community whom I think would be very qualified to answer it. I have been told that SMT4 and SMT4 Apocalypse are very good places to start in the mainline SMT series. The only one that I have any direct experience with in terms of actually having finished it is SMT3, which is overall a good game, but it has some things that are fairly dated about it now because it came out in 2001 or 2, I think. And they have fixed some of those things in the remaster, which I believe is available on PC, although it's also available on PSN, so you can play it on a PS4 as well. I don't know, Xiao. Nocturne is also a really brutal place to start, even if you play Nocturne on normal. I don't know, Demon Samurai. We don't really know anything about SMT5 yet, other than we've seen a brief trailer. I mean, that's true, Xiao. They certainly all are. And maybe this is just because I have the most experience with Nocturne. But, I mean, I feel like Nocturne has a particularly notorious reputation for being even more punishing in some ways than the others. Skjor, I'm fairly sure that you can play those games on PC. I've been told by many viewers that that DS emulation these days is supposed to be very good. Harder than Persona 5 on hard mode, Numu? Yes. Yes, because there are mechanics in the earlier SMT games that were either softened or just not used in Persona 5. Okay, you know, we could actually use this to our advantage. Because it looks like this guy counterattacks with Screaming Mad, meaning we could farm this fight for experience. Matter of fact, what... well, actually... you know, Gallows can just wait. Just there's not really much for him to do now. Among other things, Vic Junk, yeah. It also has a reputation for how easy it is to die during the tutorial. Even on normal mode, never mind on hard mode. In the tutorial of SMT3 in particular... There are, I think, 2 or 3 consecutive battles during which you have no protection whatsoever, and it basically just comes down to RNG for whether or not you miss, you crit, or you get critted by the enemy, and they get a bunch of extra turns, and you just die. Hey, Sugar Crow, welcome. Good to see you. How are you doing? Numu, if you plan on buying the SMT3 remaster on Steam, I will tell you what I've been telling everybody. Wait till it's on sale. They're asking way too much money for it right now. It's an 18 or 19-year-old game, and they want like $40 or $50 for the base version, and $70 for the, deluxe edition. Which is way too much. I'm sorry to hear it's been a long week, Sugar Crow, but I hope you're doing okay. I also am ready for the weekend, but then I always am. Xiao, the deluxe edition contains the base game. It contains 2 DLC areas where you can farm items that basically give you free experience and that you can sell for huge amounts of money. So it contains a couple of farming maps, basically. It contains, I think, a soundtrack and an art book. And there might be 1 or 2 other minor things, but that's the only significant stuff that it has. Yeah, Brock, it definitely is. And unlike Persona 4, which costs $20 on Steam, and which is quite reasonably priced, it's also a much newer game. Persona 4 they handled really well. It's priced reasonably. It's worth, you know, it's a decent value for the money, whereas they're asking way too much. My guess is that because Persona 4 sold so well, they think they can get away with upcharging people for a much older game that has much more dated systems. And yeah, Xiao, nickel and diming people in order to gain access to those DLC farming maps is ridiculous as well. So I would say, Numu... Oh, Merciful Difficulty, I think, is also part of the DLC. That might be one thing. Merciful Difficulty is probably too easy. If you've beaten Persona 5 on hard, then Nocturne on normal will mostly be a comparable experience to that. Mostly. There are still some parts of Nocturne that are going to be a lot harder, but on average it should be a comparable experience. Yeah, Vic Junk, I believe that Merciless is downloadable separately, but I don't believe it costs anything. Well, Sugar Crow, if it makes you feel any better, they probably were mostly waiting for food. Well, Xiao, most of the time that's true. The one obvious exception, maybe, at least in SMT3, specifically, is Dark Might builds for boss battles. Sugar Crow, I'm not saying they didn't also miss you. I mean, it's entirely likely that they did. But I imagine that they'll come cuddle you and let them know how much they missed you after they've been fed, right? Because you know how cats are. I mean, you do own 2 of them. Yeah, Numu, and that I think will be one of the more jarring things you'll have to deal with, is that the aesthetics of the SMT games tend to be really dark and grim and bleak, and they're not very colorful games. They use really a very monochromatic color palette. They use a lot of gray, a lot of washed out colors, whereas the Persona games, especially Persona 5, with how much the menus and the user interface and all of the different little interactive elements, with how much visual detail they have and how much they pop and how much contrast there is, they tend to be a lot more colorful. So you might prefer the aesthetic of the SMT games, but it's a significant change going from one to the other. Ha! Morteferu, Sugar Crow is right. You basically are the feeding machine. And that's true, Vic. You got me there. Man, Phantom Hazard is such a goofy skill. Oh, okay, Numu. Well, most of the SMT games have a fairly similar battle system, but there are some differences, and there are certain things about the earlier games' battle systems that were not carried forward in Persona 5. Not to mention that the earlier games have much lower frame rates. Persona 5 tends to run at a reasonably stable 40 or so FPS. The earlier games, especially the ones for older consoles, not so much. You won't get that crisp, fluid animation. And the characters and demons in battle don't have the level of attention to detail that they do in Persona 5, where there are animations for every little thing. And everyone on your team has different little victory dances, or they enter a different stance when you open the Persona menu or when you open the items menu or anything like that. That stuff was all added in P5. Some of it wasn't even in P4. Hello, person! Welcome! Oh, you know what? We need to use a Gela card. Yeah, Numu, that stuff is all specific to P5. You won't find any of it in the SMT games, at least not the earlier ones, unfortunately. Alright, now we can take advantage of this boss and the fact that it only uses dark attacks. And we can farm some experience, because this thing is quite likely to have tons of health. And... if we blow all our ammo and then just punch it, we can trigger its counterattacks. And just keep getting it to use dark moves on us and crank up our experience bonus. Although if we could get it to just spam Phantom Hazard every turn, that would be handy. I guess we have to actually deal damage to it. Although, honestly... oh, yeah, Virginia's not gonna get anywhere this way. Maybe we'd be better off not wasting our time attacking. Maybe we'd be better off just guarding and passing turns. Well, DJ, okay, the purpose behind it, I think, is mostly to just make the battles look a little bit more dynamic. You know, to make them seem a little bit more chaotic and to give you more of a feeling that you're actually in a combat situation, rather than just have all of your party members lined up on the right side of the screen and all of the enemies lined up on the left side of the screen, like most JRPGs of this era would do. Sure, it doesn't serve a practical purpose, but it does at least add to the sense of chaos. Yeah, DJ, it's silly in that it doesn't serve a purpose other than for, you know, immersion's sake. I appreciate that they went to the trouble for the sake of immersion to do it, but I agree. It does feel as though they kind of designed it as a low-budget solution to try to make the game seem a little bit more premium, maybe. Well, Numu, in Grandia 2, the wandering around during battle did matter, because there were a lot of moves and abilities in that game that they were directional. You know, they had a particular area of effect, or a direction in which they would travel, or a specific part of the battlefield that they would target. And you had to pay attention to that in that game, because if you didn't, you would miss your enemies, or you'd miss opportunities to hit as many enemies as you could. Dong Harvey, do you mean Revelations Persona? Revelations Persona, to my knowledge, it had a combat system kind of like the original Earthbound, if I remember correctly. So there was no positional anything. It was a first-person combat perspective, I think. I don't really remember one way or the other, Xiao. I have not played Persona 1, and I've only played little bits of 2 at a friend's house, so... But I could swear that I remember the very original Persona game. Maybe it was the original Megami Tensei game that I'm thinking of, that was that first-person sort of RPG perspective. A much, much earlier one. No, it's not If. If is a newer game, Xiao, I think. Soul Hackers, you mean, Demon Samurai? That's another one I haven't played, shamefully. Yeah, Xiao, I want to say it was Revelations Persona, but I'm not sure if that was Persona 1. I guess it must have been, now that I think about it, but... I'm sure someone in chat will remember better than I do. My memory was never very good to begin with, and it hasn't gotten any better with age, I'll tell you that. Well, I'm glad the boss is deciding to just spam Phantom Hazard, because that will be very helpful for our experience total. And unlike with John D, we don't have to worry about those stupid counterattacks or the physicals that he uses. We can just keep mashing defend. It does, yeah. Especially when you've only played one or two of those games in full. I prefer it when he uses the AoE, because then this gives everybody a bonus instead of just one party member. We are going to be here for a while, but fortunately this will go a lot faster than John D did. Since this is pretty brainless, we can just sit here and soak up that sweet experience bonus. Man, and I'm very impressed by how long the barriers are lasting. I think he has yet to crack a single character's barrier. Even Clive, who has the weakest barrier of everybody. And there's a nice evade. Man, this is supposed to be an optional super boss. Maybe it is if you don't show up prepared, but... Now if only there were an auto-fire button so that I could have a conversation with chat about food. Just leave the game on autopilot and... I guess I can't complain too much. Alright, Reverend Savage, have a good one! Gotta figure out dinner. Alright, Reverend, good luck. If you need any suggestions, you know where to find me. Otherwise, have a great night and a good dinner. Oh, man. Clive and his silly counterattack. You keep posting what in the Discord, Reverend? Your pictures of dinner or your request for suggestions? Because during streams, it's best to just post them in chat. I usually, it's not convenient for me to interrupt the stream to go look through Discord during streams. Oh, dinner pictures, okay. Well, good. I hope that you continue to do so. Because I always enjoy seeing what other people are having for dinner. Thank you, Savage. Have a good one. Funny as well, I don't remember the last time I had couscous. My mother would occasionally make it because it was inexpensive and easy and didn't require a lot of effort. Echo Drop, are we still talking about Genshin Impact here? Because if so, I'll pass. No, Echo Drop, I'm asking about you, what your, what game you were referring to. We weren't talking about Genshin Impact, but you said, you asked if anyone wanted gacha mechanics in their JRPG or something like that. So the first place that my mind went was, oh, he's talking about Genshin. Yeah, Numu, that was a hard pass for me from the moment I first found out about it. No thanks. Oh, you were talking about auto buttons for combat. I see, Echo Drop. I mean, even as I say that, there is AI control in this game. Like, you can set your party members to, act on their own, but I don't believe you can set them to just stand there and do nothing. I don't think. Unless, unless this does it, but I think this just, I believe this just sets them to manual control individually. Yeah. That just sets them individually to manual control. There isn't a button to have them just stand there and guard. But I suppose this is close enough. This gives me an opportunity to hang out with chat anyway. Which, to be honest, is the main reason I'm here in the first place. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before we get to the... I'm gonna have to take a guess as to when we've maxed out the experience bonus here. Well, DevTech, I'm just saying, since this is essentially, we're exploiting a game mechanic to maximize the experience gain from this battle, and since it's brainless to do so and it takes some time, all I'm saying is it's a perfect opportunity to catch up with chat and just hang out a little bit. And what better way to do that than to talk about food? Well, Soul Bishop, what can I say? You guys take really good care of me, so... Oh yeah, Dong Harvey, he kinda does, doesn't he? With the tentacles everywhere. Oh, yes, yeah, that's a good one. Oh, God. Sorry, chat, I appear to have contracted a nosebleed. I hope you'll all bear with me for just a moment. Let me go... Yeah. Let me go take care of this. This happens sometimes during the summer. I will be right back, everybody. Don't worry, I won't die. It's just a nosebleed. It happens. Alright, sorry about that, everybody. I'm fine. This is just something that happens occasionally where... Unfortunately, I think it's a, It's a function of the fact that here in Berlin, where I live, in this part of Europe in general, it gets really hot here during the day in the summer. But then at night, after the sun's gone down, it cools off relatively quickly. And the change in heat, the change in temperature, and sometimes also air pressure, because during the day it can be really humid. And then at night the humidity tends to ease off a little bit. That every once in a while will just cause me a nosebleed. It's pretty irritating, but thank you, DevTech. Oh yeah, Echo Drop, you did mention you lived in, like, Nevada or Arizona or somewhere out there, didn't you? Yeah, I could never, ever live in a desert climate. I just couldn't. I prefer cooler, more temperate environments, and... I need to be someplace where there are actual seasons, you know? Because having grown up in New England on the east coast of the United States, I got used to there being very, very distinct seasons, and to the weather being not all that hot most of the time. It only ever really got unbearable there during, like, July, August. June, July, August, I should say, but really July. July and August were the worst months. Oh, Numu, you're also living in Germany? Yeah, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. People in this country don't believe in air conditioning because electricity here is so expensive, which is one of the reasons why we've been trying to shift to more wind and solar power, and also some hydroelectric as well. But it's the main reason why you see all those wind turbines popping up on agricultural land in the German countryside, because electricity here is so expensive. But personally, I don't know about anyone else who lives in Germany, but I find it worthwhile to have an air conditioner, at least for the most unbearably hot days. You don't have to have it running 24/7, but for the really hot days, it can be a lifesaver. Yeah, Sugar Crow, at least some of the bigger private buildings have air conditioning, but... Man, the one year that I went to Gamescom, I ended up being really glad that the convention center had air conditioning, because standing outside waiting in line to get in, ugh. No shade. The line moved miserably slowly because of German bureaucracy, and it wasn't fun waiting out there. Yeah, Echo Drop, that's the unfortunate thing about living anywhere near a populated area in California, is, enjoy barely being able to afford food. Mel, it really depends on the country. Well, Numu, you could get a freestanding air conditioning unit. You could get one of those units that's, like, they're on wheels, and they just sit on the floor inside your room. Not the ones that you mount in the window. Yeah, Mel, basically what Xiao said, and I would also add to that that it depends on where the country gets its electricity. Because in Germany, one of the biggest problems that we've had for a long time is reliance on oil and natural gas from Russia for our power. And for reasons which I should hope are patently obvious, we do not want to be reliant on Russia at all, if possible, but as little as we can manage. Because, well, for a lot of reasons, but mainly in terms of price, because they have a tendency to overcharge. Not really, Numu, no. I mean, they're good for cooling a single room. They don't necessarily have the kind of power that you'd get from a window-mounted air conditioner, but the interior floor-mounted ones do work. Alternatively, you can get little fan units that that mount in your window without any installation or anything. Like they just fit in between your window and the windowsill. You don't have to use screws or nails or anything to hold them there. Oh yeah, you can get interior units that'd cool a 20 square meter apartment, Numu. You'd probably even get one online. Ah, that sucks, Mortiferu. Yeah, Famine, window fans are nice at night when the air is cool, because they can circulate nice, fresh, cool air into your apartment. During the day, if it's really hot or humid out, they don't help as much, but they're a lower-cost alternative that you can at least get some use out of. But what I have is a window-mounted air conditioner unit that that doesn't require any nails or screws or anything. It's just held in by the window and the window frame, and then closing the window prevents it from falling out. So it can be removed any time without leaving a trace that it was ever there. And it's a very handy unit because it ends up, I got a much more powerful one. I got one that was meant for cooling an entire house. It's like a 14,000 BTU air conditioner. Whereas for cooling one room, typically all you need is 2,000 or 3,000 BTU. But the unit that I have is nice. It actually saves on electricity because I can run it on the very lowest setting where it's on fan most of the time, and then it only automatically swaps over to having the AC unit running like 20 or 25% of the time, and the rest it's just circulating air. And it's not too expensive this way. So it's a powerful enough unit that even on the lowest setting, it keeps my office nice and cool without destroying my electric bill. Oh, yeah, Famine. I have a couple of fans as well that I use in conjunction with my air conditioner. At night, sometimes, if it's cool, I'll open the exterior vents on my AC unit and then open another window and point a fan out the window so that I've got the air conditioner drawing air in and the fan circulating air back out the other window. And that's really nice at night because it's less electricity than just running the air conditioner, and it also keeps fresh air circulating through. Ha! Sorry, Soul Bishop. In any case, I always find myself very glad that I have air conditioning. And I pity everybody else in Germany who does not believe in it. Well, Numu, that's the mentality that most people here have, is, well, we don't use it for 3/4 of the year. Why spend the money on it during that 1/4 of the year? But then that part of the year comes around and people go, oh, that's why. Freaking kill me. That's fine, Sugar Crow. Please go get some rest. Thank you so much for stopping in. It's always good to see you. Rest well, Sugar Crow, and give those cats a cuddle for all of us. Ah, you're in Belgium, Xiao. Okay, I wondered about that. Because it did sound like you were somewhere in the same part of Europe, or near to where I am. Well, Mortiferu, and you're not the first person I've met who has said that. But the solution to that is you have the air conditioner running in another room. And you just leave your door open a little. Yeah, Metal Abe, it's actually a lot better than quite a few other JRPGs of its time. It has some surprisingly forward-thinking mechanics, and it does some interesting things that not too many other JRPGs did. It's not perfect, it certainly has some flaws, and there are things about it that I would change. And there are certain very specific things about it that you can't help but look at and go, wow, that's dated. But overall, it still ends up being a really good game even today, side by side with modern JRPGs, and there are certain things that it actually does even better than some modern JRPGs, if you ask me. Yeah, it's pretty much mandatory in Arizona, Nobleman. Yeah, Fontes, because nobody in Europe believes in having screens on their windows. I don't understand. I don't get people in this part of the world, honestly. I guess that's what I get for growing up in America. Maybe I'm a little too privileged, but screens on windows just seems like common sense to me. Yeah, DevTac, that's consistent with my experience in Tokyo in August, which was the time of year when I visited Tokyo. That was some pretty hot weather. Yeah, Fontes, it's like people in Europe think to stop humans from falling out of windows, but not once has anyone here apparently ever given any consideration to preventing insects from getting in. God. The first time I dated a girl in Germany, it was also the first time I dated a girl who was from Europe. I would visit her at her apartment, and her apartment had no screens on the windows. And sometimes I would stay the night, and we would just be lying there in bed together, and she'd have the window open because it would be really hot, and there'd be bugs flying in the... Sometimes there'd be, like, hornets flying in the open window, and I'd be like, why? Why does nobody in this country have screens on their windows? Oh, that's right, you're Brazilian. Okay, Fontes. Right, I did know that. I mean, Fontes, it's actually not that different here. It's just that here, instead of safety nets, we have balconies. Or like little, flower planters underneath the windows. The last time I was where, DevTech? What do you mean? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow. Yeah, Numu, and then they forget about it after it's over every year. I honestly sometimes wonder why I moved back here. Oh, Christ, Echo Drop. Frankly, Echo Drop, the goal was expressly not to pollinate, as you say. That's one of the nice things about Germany, is that we actually have a functional healthcare system that doesn't make women responsible for the entire cost of contraceptives. Why would you even have windows? It just makes it easier for people to escape. Well, Soul Bishop, you say that, but actually, it's not unusual in Europe, even in big cities where you would think that it wouldn't be the case, or in Germany anyway. It's not unusual for, like second and third and fourth floor apartments to have windows that are large enough for a person to fit through and then some, and that open wide enough for a person to easily fall out of. Sugewin, they're not as limited as you might think. It's all about where you want to go and how willing you are to adapt to the local way of living. And there are a fair few countries around the world where English is spoken commonly enough that you can get by there, although of course it's always ideal to develop at least a basic level of fluency in whatever the local language is. Yeah, Fontes, and cats are dumb. They'll just jump through a window without even looking. Xiao, windows in the United States in apartments, particularly, are almost always either, if they're a big window, then they don't open at all, or they have like a really small opening section that's not big enough for a person to fit through, or else they'll open all the way, but they'll just be a really small window. Well, those are apartments, Xiao. And I'm talking about apartments in like a big apartment block. And that's mostly because in America, well, America is a very litigation-happy country. Not that there aren't countries in Europe that also are, but a lot of that is just to protect the building owners from liability, so that the windows are so small that no idiot can fall out by accident or fall out on purpose and then try to sue the building owner. But in apartments that are like built into a house, like where you've got a house that's divided into 2 apartments or 4, or that sort of arrangement, then they're just regular house windows in those cases, usually. Yeah, or condos, Echo Drop. Anything other than block apartments usually will have decent-sized windows. But block apartments are the most common place to live in the big cities, of course, and that's true in pretty nearly any developed country. So, if you do live in one of those, then it's much more likely that you'll have to deal with smaller windows. Although, if you do live in a block apartment, not always, but sometimes you'll have a balcony. And if you need some fresh air, you can either open the balcony door or just go sit out on the balcony. And in America, most balconies that you can walk out onto will have a screen door. So if you do want some ventilation, but you don't want the bugs inside, you can just open the balcony door and then close the screen. Yeah, Afro, it does happen sometimes. I'm really sorry to hear that. It's a very real reason why apartment buildings are usually designed with small windows. Yes, yeah, that's just how it's done here in Western Europe. For some reason, even high-floor apartment buildings just have enormous windows that are big enough to fit a person through, or more. Not saliva, Sugewin. Salvia. It is it's a plant. It's a toxic plant, in fact, that... Well, here, I'll just... No, I understand. It's a forgivable, It's a forgivable misunderstanding, Sugewin. It's only 2 letters different, and they're the same 2 letters. They're just swapped. Sugewin, you should have seen one of my former employers. She was an advanced practical nurse, very highly educated. She had decades of experience in her field. And I would read things that she had written, and not only were they borderline legible at best, but her grammar and spelling were atrocious. And then she would get mad at me for trying to correct her. Like, she legitimately, there were times when she wanted to send out newsletters to the parents of our clients, and I would look at the draft of the newsletter that she wanted to send out, and I'd be like, boss, you can't send this. They'll stop taking you seriously and lose all respect for you. And then, of course, she'd get mad, and she'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. And I'd be like, you're right. But go ahead and send that if you want a really hard time explaining to the parents of the children that we're working with why the person running our organization can't spell as well as their children can. Well, Sugewin, that's Doctor's handwriting. I'm talking not just about the handwriting, but about the actual grammar and spelling. And yeah, Fontez, Zio is exactly right. You see how every time this boss uses any of its dark attacks, my entire team blocks them? Well, what that does is, every time the Dark Ward ability activates on a character, that character gains a 10% increase in the amount of experience they get from the battle. And that 10% increase caps at 1,000%. So you basically end up with a 9.9 times modifier to the amount of experience that you get if you max out your experience modifier from 1.0 to 9.9. Well, Echo Drop, all we're saying is that the illegible handwriting is the baseline. There are people in the medical field who have nicer handwriting, but that's only because they put in the extra effort to have nicer handwriting. I'm pretty sure that most doctors just use a form of medical shorthand. Or they rely on whatever documents they're sending having their signature, or their name anyway, already printed on them in a legible typeface. Yeah, Nobleman, it is nice. I definitely type a lot faster than I write. And I do try to write neatly. I do put at least some effort into my handwriting, but... Echo Drop, that's not necessarily true. It depends on what field you're in. If you're in a data entry field, or anything that involves accounting, or mathematics, or statistics, anything like that, yeah. The most you'll ever write is your signature. But more artistically inclined fields, graphics designers especially, even if they're drawing digitally, they're still often using a tablet, like a drawing tablet. And that might as well be writing. It's just writing without the inconvenience of having to use an eraser. Numu, that was 75% of my classmates in high school that you're describing. Often they do, Afro, but not always. Mine hasn't. I normally try to keep my signature so that it's actually legible, although I've definitely sort of tapered off putting in as much effort into it over the years as I used to when I was in school and it mattered for the sake of getting a grade. You probably did, KR. There are some goofy bosses in Star Fox. Yeah, Afro, it got to the point where I ended up just signing things with my initials anytime it was allowed. Because sometimes it is. Often, they'll want your full name, but sometimes you can get away with just initialing something. Ha! Xiao, that actually is probably one of the best ways to fake out a teacher. is to just draw an illegible signature and make it look like your parent just doesn't care about their handwriting. Pizza chips right after you wake up? Echo Drop, are you also day drinking? Because that just sounds like two things that would go together. Afro, there are a couple of different things pizza chips could be, but my guess... Oh, okay, Calbee pizza chips. That's not what I expected. What I expected was, nachos, but instead of the traditional Tex-Mex... Well, I say traditional. I don't think there's really anything terribly traditional about Tex-Mex nachos, but instead of the standard Tex-Mex toppings like bell peppers and onions and artificial processed cheese, pizza chips, by my definition, according to what I've had that was called pizza chips, are basically nachos, but with like tomato sauce and pepperoni and cheese. Oh, okay, Echo Drop, gotcha. Well, yeah, KR, I guess. Oh, okay, Afro. Pizza chips were something that my mother sometimes used to make when she was desperate to get me to eat something. And the way that she would make it was she would just use regular corn chips and cover them with cheap pepperoni and tomato sauce and mozzarella. And as a dumb kid, I did eat them because that was the flavor profile that the country I lived in taught me to eat, but... No, not at all, Dirty Double Crosser. This is just exploiting a game mechanic in order to max out the experience modifier for this battle. Because this is an optional super boss, or at least it is in name. It's not actually that dangerous. And I am using a game mechanic to basically get it to hit me with attacks that my entire team nullifies, and in so doing to crank up the experience bonus that I will get when I kill it. Neither did I, Echo Drop. My mother is the only person that I've ever seen make pizza chips in that form. I don't know where she learned it, or if she just made it up. I don't know where... Let me see if I can find an image of it. Because I don't know it to be a particularly widespread thing. But she must have gotten the idea from somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Yes, Fontes. The modifier starts out at 1.0. It caps out at 9.9. So, there they are. It's the link that I just posted in chat there is something like what she used to make. You used to be able to get, Scrimp Sandwich. That's a great username. I appreciate that username. Oh, you know what, Echo Drop? That doesn't surprise me that they're keto videos. Because there won't be any gluten in those since they're corn. And it's just pepperoni and cheese and sauce and vegetables. Although, depending on what kind of pepperoni you use, some of them have fillers that contain gluten. That was never any concern of my mother's, but... Well, Fontes, I guess I could see them being good hangover food. I don't drink, so I can't really speak to that, but... Nobleman, the sauce helps prevent them from being so dry. Not to mention the cheese and the vegetables as well. And sauce, I think, is optional. Some people, I guess, don't like to add the sauce because it can result in the chips getting soggy. So, sometimes just the moisture from the vegetables and the cheese is enough. Never mind the grease from the pepperoni if you choose to add pepperoni. Yeah, Fontes, if you use a really, really thick tomato sauce that doesn't have much moisture in it. I mean, at that point, you're practically using tomato paste, but... Well, so are most of us from standard nachos, Nobleman, yeah. Yes, KR, that's correct. For whatever silly reason, this boss only uses dark attacks, and I don't think the developers really thought this part of the game through, because there are not all that many enemies that use fire, ice, lightning, wind, earth, or water attacks. But there are a whole bunch of enemies, like constantly throughout the entire game, that use mostly or exclusively dark or light attacks. Dark and light are the next most common attack types after physical. Physical is the most common, but dark and light are by far the next most common. And so once you've taught your entire party Dark Ward and Light Ward, you become pretty much invincible in most of the late game boss fights when the only moves the bosses use are Dark or Light Elemental. Some people do, Echo Drop. There's a panel that Anthony Bourdain did with Jacques Pepin, and it's a really fascinating watch. There's they have some great banter between the two of them, but there's a point during this panel where Bourdain says to Pepin something to the effect of one of his guilty pleasures is going to, like, Taco Bell at 3 a.m. and ordering the nachos with that nuclear yellow artificial nacho cheese, and he would go in wearing a hoodie with the hood pulled up so no one would recognize him. And Pepin's response is, "That's the difference between you and me. I feel no shame. I'll go in without the hoodie on. Because I'm a glutton." And that's why I love Chef Pepin. Oh, it's fantastic. In fact, let me find the link, Shrimp. Because there's a video of it on YouTube. It's a great watch. Here it is. It's called Jacques Pepin and Anthony Bourdain, Home and Away. I do too, KR. It's a damn tragedy what happened to him. There you go. Well, KR, as they would under the circumstances. No problem, Shrimp. It's a good watch after you've had dinner. And Pepin has some really interesting insights as well, because he is, he's in his late 80s now. I believe he's almost 90. Hang on, let's see. He is 85. And he's still going strong. He actually, every once in a while, he'll upload a YouTube video where he does a simple recipe. So he appears to still be doing okay. Yeah, KR, if you live somewhere near a good bakery and you have the opportunity to eat, like, really, really fresh bread just out of the oven that morning, there's nothing quite like it. Like, a good loaf of bread, you could just eat nothing but that bread, and it can be a meal in and of itself. Although, things that go with bread to make it better certainly are a plus. Even something just as simple as a sauce to dip your bread in as you tear pieces off of it. Or like what the Italians that I used to work with would do sometimes, where they would bring in like half a loaf of bread to work, and they would slice it up, and then they'd have like a pepperoni or a sopressata or something, and some provolone cheese, like a sharp provolone, or some fontina or something. And then they would just eat the bread and the cheese and whatever salumi they had with them. And I eventually learned to eat that way as well, because it was relatively inexpensive and still a pretty satisfying lunch. Yeah, KR, it's a little bit different when it comes from a local bakery. Because local bakeries tend to do more interesting things, you know? They'll have some heirloom flours or different types of special bread that they'll make that'll be stuffed with meat or cheese, or that'll be crusted with different kinds of seeds or other nice things, or sometimes have cheese melted on the top. German bakeries, I'm telling you. Hey, Kielf! Fresh bread and local honey. Honey is an interesting idea for bread. I know there are some people who like that, who prefer it. And I guess there's some kinds of bread that would work well with. I've seen some really impressive loaves of cinnamon bread at a couple of the bakeries near where I live. There's one in particular that does it's like a loaf of bread that has cinnamon, clove, allspice, orange peel, and a little bit of brown sugar. And it has these things swirled into the bread, and then it has a little bit of a coating of them on the outside. So it almost ends up being more like cake than bread, but it's made in pretty much the same way as bread, with regular bread flour. And it's sold rather in a loaf rather than as a cake. Oh, always, Kia Elf, always. Maybe someday I'll go to that bakery and buy a loaf of that bread just so I can post pictures of it on the Discord, although it'll take me probably longer to eat an entire loaf of that stuff than it will for a loaf of that stuff to start to spoil. Because I haven't had it yet, but I have a feeling it's probably really sweet. Probably sweeter than I like. Ah, Kia Elf, that's a good use of social media. Good on them for figuring out to do that. I imagine that probably helps with business when all of your customers get a push notification when your bread comes out of the oven. KR, there are 4 factors that I can think of off the top of my head. The looks, the smell, the ingredients, or, I mean, really more importantly than anything, the taste, right? No, Numu, you are not hallucinating. I explained this before, I don't know if you were here for it, but what I am doing here is letting this boss spam dark attacks on me. Which I'm immune to because my entire team has an ability that nullifies dark damage. And every time that ability activates, and every time my team blocks a dark attack, every member of my party gains a bonus to the experience that we get from this battle. It is sad, DevTech. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times. Here we go. So, this boss is going to give us 70,000 experience. No, not cheating at all, Numu. I am using mechanics that were expressly put there by the developers for clever people to either use or ignore, and I choose to use them. So what's going to happen here is the 70,000 experience that we get from this, as long as I can calculate maxing out the experience bonus, this is going to become basically 63,000 experience. Or 630,000 experience, I'm sorry. So we're going to get 9.9 times this amount of experience. At least if I can accurately judge when we will have gotten the full experience bonus for every party member. Because I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we have a little while left to go before we do, but it's not too far off. It is, however, one of the unfortunate and very common game design elements of most JRPGs is the fact that it takes so long to do stuff like this. We'll give it another 10 minutes or so, and then I think we'll have gotten the maximum bonus. Hey, Puff! Yeah, Zio, games like the Dragon Quest series in particular, because that franchise practically invented most of the tropes that almost every other JRPG developer picked up on and used. Games like those are among the worst offenders in terms of their disrespect for the player's time. To a certain degree, in at least some ways, that kind of becomes an advantage if you're a content creator. At least if you're streaming live anyway. If you're making pre-produced videos for a platform like YouTube, you typically just end up cutting or omitting the grind from your videos, but here it gives us at the very least an opportunity to engage as broadcaster and chat while the monotonous task is going on in the background. Yeah, Numu. There, in Persona 5, there's actually a really easy and pretty much foolproof way of grinding experience very quickly at the end of the game. It was an exploit, and they nerfed it in Royal, so it does not work in P5R, unfortunately. But you probably have heard of it. It's the exploit where you wait until flu season, and then you go into a dungeon and you hang around until the Reaper shows up, and you get into a battle with the Reaper, and the Reaper is afflicted by the flu status. So you get in the battle, and he does nothing for 3 turns, and then he just dies. And you essentially get a free kill on him, which is like 150,000 experience or something ridiculous like that. And that was the late game optimal farm. Oh yeah, totally balanced, Numu. The developers definitely didn't intend it. It's definitely an oversight. It's something that they didn't catch, or that didn't even occur to them, because they went out of their way to nerf it in Persona 5 Royal. It no longer works in Royal. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Xiao. I haven't played any of the recent Dragon Quest games, so it's encouraging to hear that they've at least been getting a little bit better about not wasting too much of the player's time. Puff, are they organic blood oranges? Because if they are, then that will inform whether or not I can recommend that you use the peel. Because if they are not organic, then almost certainly they will have a layer of, usually it's carnauba wax, on the outside of the peel to deter spoilage and pests. And if that's the case, you won't be able to use the peel, because you can't eat that stuff. It's carcinogenic. However, if they're organic and they don't have any wax on the outside, you can give them a good wash and peel them, and you can make candied orange peel out of the peel, and you can then make either a... you can make candied orange slices out of the orange itself, or you can use them to make a few different kinds of desserts. You can use them to make syrups, you can use them for puree, and then use that to flavor pastries or drinks. They're not organic, okay. So all you're going to be able to use is the fruit part, unfortunately. But all the same, let me give you a couple of recipes that you can do with the fruit. Mind you, Puff, these are going to be mostly pastries. However, oh, I don't know that I would want to do that with a power drill, Puff. At least not one that wasn't exclusively dedicated to food. Because that is some super unsanitary territory there. And you're just begging for cross-contamination if you just use your regular drill for a blood orange. Okay, so Puff, if you want to try a simple recipe for doing just a simple cake, upside-down cake is really easy to make. And a blood orange upside-down cake might be just what the doctor ordered. If that doesn't do it for you, you can try making some blood orange sorbet, because when made from scratch, it's really good. Alternatively, you could do... And you might actually really like this one, Puff. You could do a blood orange yogurt cake. Yogurt cake is really rich and really creamy. And if you're worried about baking pastries, you can even do a blood orange souffle. How about that? Check that out. Or if you want to do something really easy, you can go out and buy a, Alright, hang on. Alright, you don't even need to go out and buy it. You can, I don't know if you're into alcohol, Puff, but here's a recipe for blood orange sangria. Or you might prefer blood orange trifle. And let me see what else we can do here. Oh, you know what? Here's a somewhat more traditional Italian recipe. Blood oranges are a huge product of Italy, which you might already know, Puff. If you can get burrata and pesto, you might really like this one. This one is a real winner. This is a blood orange salad with burrata, which is basically mozzarella cheese filled with cream, and pesto, Genovese, which is green pesto, basil pesto. That last one in particular, Puff, you might really like. But that ought to hold you, Puff, yeah? Hopefully that'll be enough ideas for you. Yeah, Luriaceous, it does look fantastic. I might actually try making that myself at some point, because I do quite like the look of that. Luriaceous, if you do make that, please make sure to take some pictures and post them on the Discord, okay? Because I want to see. No worries, Puff. Always happy to help. Puff, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one more recipe. Thank you, Luriaceous. Do it for me, just this once. Okay, so, Puff. I am gonna give you... just in case you're able to find organic blood oranges next time. You can do this with organic blood oranges. You can make candied orange peel or candied orange slices. Don't do this with the oranges you have now if they're not organic. But here we go. The candied blood orange peel I think you'll really like as well. So there's the slices, if you want to do slices. There's just the peel. And we can do something really special here, Puff. Check this out. Here is a recipe for... for candied blood orange peel dipped in chocolate. Well, Numu, you don't have to go nuts on the presentation of your food. But it's still worth making a little bit of effort to make something, you know, that's good. It doesn't have to be pretty. But you'll enjoy eating it more if you put a little bit of time and care into it. You know, if you're willing to go even a little bit of extra distance to make a slightly more flavorful dish. Yes, Zio, announced yesterday at the Summer Games Show. Yeah, that's the best way, Luriaceous. Yeah, it does unfortunately take more effort, Lauriatius, but one of the trade-offs of having good food is having to put in a little bit more work to prepare it. Actually, Puff, I think I might be able to help there as well. Here you go, Puff. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Puff, you can just order them. I know, Puff, but that's just an example. There are other places online that will sell them. Do a little bit of, well, as a matter of fact. Puff, we can, Here, check this out. I don't know how the pricing will compare, but you can get them from another place besides Amazon. How long it will take them to get there? Is another story. But that's up to you, Puff. You might search your local grocery stores and see what you can find. Because if there's a Whole Foods or actually, Puff, health food stores might carry something like pine nuts. Because Karens love them. So you might be able to find them at one of those health food stores that cater to boomers or new age hippies. Only vitamins, no health food items, Puff? Then, yeah, you might be stuck on ordering them online. But you can find places like the one I linked there that'll have them. Oh, an international market is a good bet. If you've got one of those, you know better than I do what's near you. And you can always also, Puff, run a search on the area, the general area where you live, like within 50 miles, to find stores that might have what you're looking for. Because there might be a store near you that you don't know about or have never had any reason to explore. Hello, Corknut! Not nearly the end game, but we're getting there. After this chapter, there's only one chapter left. And this chapter will be over relatively soon. Alright, I'm fairly comfortable in saying that we probably have either maxed out the experience bonus by now or are close to maxing it out. So... let's say we get this show on the road. We're going to have Jet go first, then Virginia, then Gallows, then Clive. Then we're going to have Virginia... lower this guy's magic defense. We're going to have Jet reduce his status resistance. Clive can enfeeble him. And Gallows can actually... Gallows can put barrier back on Virginia. Yes, yo, it's finally time to kill this idiot. We've tortured the poor sod a lot more than he's tortured us. Alright, so what we need to do now is we've given him a weakness to water, I think. Yes, okay, weak to water. So now we use the water ring. You know what? We can just have Gallows use a water gem. Eh. There we go, that's 20,000 damage. I have not, Puff, no. Never heard of it. Okay, and then we're going to Mystic and give Jet the water buff as well. We're going to have Jet go in. We will have Clive give Virginia a mini carrot afterward. And we'll try this. I doubt it'll do much damage, but not bad, 12,000 damage. Yeah, that's pathetic. That looks like it should do a lot more damage than it does. Alright, so let's get a full carrot on everyone. Jet and Clive can reload. Gallows can, I guess, try Soul Arrow. Okay, DevTech, have a good one. Thank you for joining us. Rest well, and we'll catch you next time. Right in the eye, jeez. Still didn't do that much damage, though. I guess there's really not an awful lot we can do here other than just use gems. Oh, I think he's already got that status on him. Whoops. It's hard to tell what the icons are sometimes. That's a little better. Okay, now we should be able to go in for all the big stupid damage. Yeah, that's better. Sorta. All the damage is still gonna come from Clive and Jet, but... Okay, Sugewin, have a good one. Take care. Hopefully we'll see you a little bit later. Thank you. Have a safe trip. There we go. Now we're getting there. Yeah, KR, I sure feel bad for this poor demon. There's not a blasted thing he can do to us. Oh, that's better. I think that spell's damage depends on how much FP your party has. So actually what we can do is, since we want Gallows to cast it while everyone has full FP, we can have him go first. And we'll have him cast it before anybody uses any FP. Oh, that was garbage. What the heck happened? Oh, his magic defense debuff wore off. That's what happened. Oh, we got him. How about that? Poor guy. Yes, okay, see. So we got the double Gela boost. So the Gela doubled once from the Gela card, and it doubled twice from our Gela boost trait. And we did indeed max out the experience bonus. So, 70,000... Let me just check my math on this because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, 693,000 experience is what we're getting out of this. Plus the gold license, whatever that does. I don't remember that. We went from level 65-ish to level 76-ish. I think the gold license gets us a discount. Membership card for all shop guilds. 50% off all items. And I believe this also applies to the black market. So, it makes the black market a lot less unbearable to buy stuff from. What we're gonna do now is we are bloody well gonna save. And now we get to spend... all of those sweet, sweet points. PS4, but there sure isn't an awful lot for us to spend them on at this point. Also, is it just my imagination, or does auto-reload not work? I don't think I've ever seen it proc. There appear to be a couple of abilities that just don't work properly. Misery resistance is never useless. Not an awful lot else there that we can spend them on, though, I guess. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, anyway, that's that boss fight, and now we have money again. Now we can get over here. Yeah, okay, I think that's all that's in here. Huh? Oh, good. More potion berry. You know, you'd expect there to be a bombable wall in one of these cells, but I'm pretty sure there's not. Hey, this is the latest issue of Disaster Girl of the Wasteland. I was halfway through part 3 when I was on the train. Oh, that's right. Virginia actually mentions what book she was reading when she was on the train. Disaster Girl of the Wasteland. That's my sister's book, so Sis really was here. But it's odd that Sis would just leave her book on the floor like this. Maybe she's trying to tell us something by leaving it here. That door looks suspicious too. My sister has trouble expressing her feelings with words, so people tend to misunderstand her. Yeah, we've noticed. The truth is, she's the nicest, most caring, and hardworking person I know. Yes, I know. I too haven't been able to express my true feelings with words. Even though we don't talk, I know someone cares about me very much. I understand how difficult it is to reach out to people with words. Thank you. My sister's a little you-know-what, but please take kindly to her. Oh, God. I'm sure she really wants to befriend you. You really think so? Okay, stand back. Alfred set us up the bomb. All right. That's it. Yep, that was perfect. Alfred is a very precise, measured fellow. He's not a Panzerfaust like me. He prefers shaped charges to indiscriminate deployment of heavy ordnance. Working with explosives is an art form. There's really no reason to blow everything up. I just blew off the part that was sealed. Well, let's get moving. Welcome back, Soul Bishop. Also, yes, okay. There is a duplicator door over here, so let's check this out. Oh, God. Wait, I don't remember there being a boss in here. Oh, look, it's Palindrome and Palindrome Jr. I guess the first question is... is it worth using Gela cards on these guys? $7,500 Gela and 7,000 experience. My suspicion is it's probably not worth using Gela cards and lucky cards on these guys. In which case... I guess so, Italian Anthro. I guess so. All right, then. Wow, that's it? Man, okay, Alright. I was expecting that would be a little bit more... we can't carry any more Holy Root. That's unfortunate. Hello, Tikal. Welcome. What name have you not seen in a long time? My username or the name of this game? Come to think of it, I think... yes, paperback. Its title is Disaster Girl of the Wasteland, All Take and No Give. As you flip through the pages of the paperback, you realize that the bookmark is actually a card key. Oh, God. Ugh. A key used to access a secret area of the ruins. I think we need to use it at one of the terminals here. I wonder what this does. I think a picture's being transmitted. Wait, let me see if I can bring it up. Ah! And this is one of the things I love about this game, is that they went so far out of their way to draw character portraits for characters that you don't interact with an awful lot, that get used once and then never seen again. Ah, no kidding, Tikal. Well, I'm glad you were able to find your way here. Welcome. How nice to see you again, mortals. This guy right here, he just looks like a really angry Shinra soldier. Siegfried. You remembered my name. I'm honored. Is Maya safe? Of course she is. However, that may all change depending on your action. Let us commence the negotiation. You get me the teardrop in exchange for the damsel. So you want to play dirty, huh? But the thing is, we don't know where the teardrop is. The negotiation stops here. That is not a problem. She has revealed everything. That's a lie. My sister wouldn't give in to you. I love how Alfred just shoves Virginia out of the way. As a matter of fact, she did. Voluntarily, too. The light tear shatters to pieces as it builds power and becomes a memory. The memory lies in the heart, forever in the ruins of memory. Well, it shows that the character artist did a good job, Harvey. Hey, Magnus, welcome! That's the information we dug up, but what did you do to my sister? I had a chance to study up on her abilities. She uses a book as a memory storage unit and converts and installs the internal data for her own use. Her spiritual strength exceeds those of demons, generating an extreme illusion through this internal data. A form of auto-suggestion or powerful auto-hypnosis gives her the ability to transform herself. These are the details of Maya Schrödinger's supernatural powers. Intriguing, is it not? Still doesn't make a bit of sense. Ugh. However, no matter what form she assumes, her innate personality always exists. This is what I have uncovered. Sis! Your honest self. So I've never quite understood what happens here. I'm guessing that he basically forced her to read a book about just being your honest self, and it turned her into her true personality, which she's never worn outwardly before now. That's what I'm carrying away from this anyway. I'm still not 100% sure what they're trying to say happened here. But before we do that, before we speculate any further, let me give my man Magnus here a shout out. Because if you guys enjoy horror games, and if you like just hanging out with somebody chill, head on over and check out Magnus. He's a great dude, and he has a really cool chainmail tie. I look forward to receiving the teardrop. Was that really Maya? Well, we have to find the teardrop first before we can make the exchange. About that information. Yeah, it mentions ruins of memory right in your face. Think it's a trap? This information isn't a rumor that has recently started floating around. I really think this lead is genuine and reliable. Okay. We've been in there before, but we might have missed something. Let's head to the ruins of memory and find the teardrop. I'm sorry, but would it be alright if you go on ahead? I need to prepare something before the exchange takes place, so we can't go there just now. Alright, but hurry. We'll meet you inside the ruins of memory. No, not at all, Soul Bishop. My normal talking voice? What do you mean? Why? I guess I'm trying to understand what you mean by that. Oh, God. Every bloody time. Oh, no. Oh, come on. Alright, look. Oh, yes, I absolutely have those as well, Soul Bishop. If that's what you're asking, then I stream in my public speaking voice. Literally a step from our method of transportation. And now we have jack-o'-lanterns self-destructing on us. Ah, Noabad! Thank you so much for the resub, Noabad, and congrats on an unbelievable 63-month streak. I still can't believe anybody's been watching me that long. Soul Bishop, out of curiosity, is there a particular reason you ask? Am I speaking too loudly? Or am I clipping my audio or something? Because if I am, I would like to know about it so that I can, you know, stop. Alright, same sound as... Well, yes, Nobleman, it will be the same sound as always, because, this is the level of volume and the level of enunciation with which I normally speak on stream. But again, this is my public speaking voice. It's funny you ask that, Soul Bishop, because public speaking used to be part of one of my previous jobs. And frequently when we would do presentations in that line of work, we would be offered microphones, and I spoke as part of a group of my colleagues, and we would frequently speak to fairly large audiences at times. Well, large by those standards were like sometimes 50, 60, 70 people, every now and then 100, 150. Ironically, the audiences that I broadcast for on Twitch are much larger, but one thing that would usually happen when we got set up is they would offer us microphones. And usually we would be speaking in a room where there was decent... the acoustics were decent, and sometimes we'd speak in auditoriums. And I tended to find that I was the only member of my group of colleagues who did not require a microphone. You had someone in your other Discord say your phone voice and your Discord and podcast voice are different? I don't know, Soul Bishop. I'd have to hear them. I'd have to hear you speak in each of those different situations. Oh, that's true, Noabad. You've been around since YouTube, so... Yeah, 63 months probably only goes back to the very first day I started streaming on Twitch. That's a fair observation. But Soul Bishop, I don't... I mean... I don't know. I don't know if I could really do a comparison for you, because when I'm streaming, I sort of get into my streaming voice, and I think part of it is because I wear headphones as well, so in order to be able to hear myself, I have to speak a little bit more loudly, but that just ends up being the level of volume that I ordinarily use for public speaking, or that I did use for public speaking prior to becoming a Twitch broadcaster. So I hope that answers your question, Soul Bishop. No, Noabad, I don't. I'm actually a lot less loud and obnoxious when I'm not streaming. I don't tend to speak unless I have a reason to speak. When I'm not streaming, I actually don't have a lot of energy for social interaction in general. And unless it's a situation where I have some reason to make the first move and to approach someone, and I mean, obviously if I'm at the bank or the grocery store or something, then whatever, you know, but No, ordinarily I'm, believe it or not, much more soft-spoken than this. And I speak a lot less. You use the chef's voice in the grocery store. I mean, the grocery store is relevant to being a chef, I suppose. No, nobleman, most of us should strive for the opposite, I think. I appreciate your style, though, Soul Bishop. At the very least, nobody will mistake what you're asking for when you go grocery shopping. Well, alright, now that your question is answered, Soul Bishop, I think we've done in total about 7.5, maybe 8 hours today, counting FF7R. I'm not going to bother checking the uptime because that's not going to tell the whole story. I did deliberately split the VOD. But it's getting toward time that I need to go get some... Well, I've already eaten a little bit, so maybe just a snack, I guess. And then some sleep. So I think I'm going to call it today. And what we're going to do is we're going to go raid a viewer of mine who has been a viewer of mine for a long time. Some of you might know him. He's been in and out of the stream today, and he's doing his own stream right now. He goes by The Doctor, and he is streaming Mass Effect. And he is somebody I would like to support because he recently started streaming not all that long ago at all, and he's trying to get his channel off the ground. And he really is very good at it. I'm very impressed by how well he's done so far. So I would like to introduce all of you to him. And I would really appreciate it if as many of you as are willing would stick around for the raid. And I know that he would too. So we've got exactly 69 viewers here. Let's go deliver this very nice raid. And I will catch all of you tomorrow or hopefully sometime around then. Take care, everyone.